Today we have an extra special project. A bride is going to get married in December, and I wish you could touch this. Look, oh my goodness. This is not real fur, so don't freak out if you're not a real fur person, but it is so soft. She's going to wear this with her wedding gown, and she needs the sleeve shortened. So today we are going to shorten sleeves on faux fur, and I'm going to show you how to get that done. What is this? Oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. No, maybe I don't. Is that the inside of the fur? I have no idea what that is. We're going to take this apart and find what that is and why this is not just fur. That should just be fur. So we're going to investigate. This is how we investigate. Get a knife. And take it apart, right? How many people know kids that just do that? That just take stuff apart to see how it works? I mean, don't judge. Because this is what we do. I'm going to open this up. We're making a back door. Sometimes you do this in dresses. Sometimes you do it. Aha! Okay. Look what Leah's discovered. There's a natural spacing to make this beautiful text. You know, they didn't sew this. It just every 6 inches doesn't have an inch of fur. Now questions have been answered. Now we know why it looks like this, which is brilliant. That's beautiful that they could discover that it's just this natural break that has this beautiful design. Okay, lovely. So when we do this, we're not going to be able to create that. And it's going to be okay. It's not going to be a problem to have the fur rolling all the way under into the lining. Okay, this is in theory not a difficult process. From the cut line is right here. That's 3 inches. That's right. Because it's 1.5 inches in from the fold line is the cut, 1.5 inches in from that fold line is the cut, and 0.5 inch in from there is where we're sewing, and that's 3 inches. That's going to be such a pain. So this may not even be possible. This may not even be possible. I'm going to try. But this may not be possible. I was having such a good morning. Everything was working. It's all good. I asked a good question. If you're doing more than 3 inches, would you cut it first? And I'm telling you by experience, you do not want to cut this before you sew it. Because you will fiddle with lining it up, or you'll have to pin it 100 places and you'll stick yourself 10 times. The best and easiest way is to do this to sew it before you cut it. Okay, look what Leah behind the camera discovered. This is pearl, and I don't usually use pearl primarily, but it will fit over her, and we could sew it a lot easier. So I'm going to mark, and we're going to put a little drape over Hope so she won't watch us, preferring her friend over here. We are shoving the lining into the sleeve. And okay, so in theory, we are doing this without, and then there will be no wrinkles. It will be perfectly aligned. We're going to start at the seam so I can feel that we're lined up. The seam, and yes, I'm going to use one pin right there. Okay, so this has to go over this, and if the lining is wonky, it will not work. And then we will apologize to Hope and go back, but we're going to see if this will work. See if this will go on. It's just not. Look, how do we fix this? Because we're having stress right here. It will not go on because the lining is not going in far enough. I can either, yes I am going to do that. Seam ripper. I'm going to seam rip this lining opening a lot more. See, it just is relieving all the stress. It's easier to put this seam back in than to do it on Hope. Don't tell Hope I said that. All right, we're getting too close to the armpit seam, so I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna actually take this off. I should have taken it off in the first place and see if I can get this to just lay a little flatter. Oh, it's so much better because I can get my hand in there so far, and we need to have this flat. We're just gonna see if it works. If it doesn't work, we're gonna have to go to plan B, which has not been formulated yet. So let's just see if we can do this. Why? Why aren't we sliding on? It is not sliding on. Fine, I will. I just had an idea that I don't want to do, but I think I have to. So sometimes when you start doing a project and your great idea on how to do it does not happen, you have a choice. You can either get frustrated and say, I hate sewing, and go find chocolate. Or you can say, you can just open your mind and go, there has to be a better way. And just let ideas come. And they will. But you cannot be frustrated. If you're frustrated and angry, you will not be able to find another way to do it. Just my little 2 cents for today. All right. Now we're going to, this is quilting thread, which I use anytime I'm doing hand thread that is not going to be seen. I just use quilting thread. It doesn't make knots. So we have the sewing line right there. And this has come out. Shadowfax, if you come out again, I'm going to put the spurs on. And it won't like it. Keep the lining in there. I thought I had it in there. It does not want to stay. It does not want to line up. I did not think this would be that difficult. But there, my hand has a good, but the seams are not lined up. Now I've got the seam right there. I'm going to start sewing on my seam line. This is going to be done by machine eventually. Every time I stitch a big long basting stitch, I'm going to make sure that the lining is not folding out, which it is wanting to do. And now I have this band-aid on my finger that's catching the thread, which is making me crazy, but I'm not going to get upset, even though I am hand stitching. This is just, okay. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this back stitch. I really like this back stitch thing that I do. You don't have to do this stitch, but I like it's nice to go backwards a little bit and then forward. All right, we're getting ready to cut. Who's nervous? I don't want to cut. This lining does not feel like it's lining up. But a lot of times lining is wider than the sleeve. So maybe that's just what I'm feeling. Tying off my knot. We have basted that closed. Is there any reason why I shouldn't cut? Here's the fold line. Here's the seam line. I need to cut. The cutting line should be 2.5 inches. And just for sanity, I'm just going to, yeah, we're going to cut it right there. I just need to check the invoice and make sure it was 2.5. Just because this is for real. Yeah. Just don't want to make a mistake that I can't fix. Okay, we're cutting it 1/2 inch down. Okay? Okay. Cutting. Shadowfax. Wants to leave a piece of her in the studio forever. Okay. And I'm just going to get this, because this actually, I think, might do a decent job in getting this in my hand. Oh, that looks nice. That looks nice. That looks nice. Very nice. Oh, what if I just leave that? I can't. I can't leave that. It was machine stitched and then tacked down on the inside. I'm just going to put this on kind of and just to see how it feels while I think about this. But why can't I leave it like this? What if I leave it? I might leave it. I might leave it. Why does it need to be done on a machine? We have to think of reasons why we can't just leave this. But if you remember, the fold line was different than the stitching line, remember? We have this line, but it's supposed to fold up here. So if we do want to just leave this with hand stitching, we need to fold it up here and tack it down so that the fur is ending there and we are actually folding on the fold line. So now we have to decide. Should we leave my big basting stitches in and just do this by hand? And you can really see my stitching. Okay, I'm worried about this coming out, so we are going to do this on the machine. We're going to fold there and we're going to tack. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to put my hand on the inside, which is the outside. Fold it on that line. Yep, I'm going to pinch that on the inside, which is the outside. And I'm just going to whip stitch this along. Because this whip stitch is 1 inch folded up on the inside, if this was too short, you can let it down and it won't be a terrible mistake. If it was 1/2 inch, you can adjust it 1/2 inch to make it longer. You can definitely just adjust it more to make it shorter. In fact, if you wanted to shorten it just 1/2 inch, maybe you could just take out the whip stitching, fold it a little bit more, and then whip stitch it again. We did it by machine, but honestly, if it's just a little bit too long or short, you may not even need to use your machine. Ready for the big reveal. I got done tacking. You can see that it's tacked. I'm going to turn it. And we're going to see how it looks. I mean, the real test will come when she comes to try it on. But look, it does have that nice folded edge right there. I want to make sure actually that from the armpit, the satin from the armpit to the sleeve is about the same. Because if I just undid that tacking, we would not have enough lining of the satin and it would pull this up. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just try it. I dare you. Just try it. But this looks lovely. Yeah, it's going to be nice. Thank you so much for watching this video on how to shorten the sleeves of a faux fur jacket. And this technique will work with any jacket that does not have a vent or buttons. And you can do the same thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe.